Speaking of that, that's what I really set up this meeting for, because last meeting that we had was with me driving down the road and it didn't upload correctly. So I'm just going to reiterate what we talked about last week for the new
Well, that's good because I missed
guidelines.
last week.
Yeah, the new CDC guidelines. So if you are fully vaccinated, and currently we do not have any guidance from UF on whether or not I have to ask you for evidence, I think that I should be able to trust you all to be able to say whether or not you've been vaccinated, right?
Well, I have evidence, and everybody else should too. They give you this card,
I
and then
know, but
you take a picture of it, and it's on your phone. So
yeah, I'm just trying not to have to say, well, I want your documentation, because that's really not,
I know.
it's a little invasive, right? So I'd rather everybody be very honest with themselves. I've been saying that since this whole pandemic started to hit us.
Well,
want
it's
people
hard
to
for
be
me to
honest with
understand that
themselves.
people aren't honest. I don't get that. Why you would say you had it if you didn't? Doesn't
Right.
make sense.
Because
Right.
then you're risking yourself, and I really don't want anyone to risk themselves
Right.
to do this. They can go
Right.
risk themselves to do anything else. That's their business. You know what I mean?
Right.
But just not to do this. So anyway, the new CDC guidelines are pretty awesome for people who are fully vaccinated. And you're considered to be fully vaccinated 2 weeks after your second dose of Pfizer or Moderna, and you're fully vaccinated 2 weeks after your single dose of Johnson & Johnson, right? And what that would mean is that it is going to prevent you from getting very sick.
Right.
It's not going to prevent you from getting COVID. It's just going to prevent you from having to be hospitalized or having all of the really, really poor effects. Now, I did have a conversation with somebody else a couple weeks ago when I talked about this before. There is no difference between the vaccines and that aspect, okay? All of the vaccines are going to help to make sure that you don't die.
Right.
And that you do not have severe COVID-19 symptoms.
Right.
That is what the vaccine is about. So whether you do J&J, whether you do Pfizer, whether you do Moderna, all of them are going to work to make sure that you are not very ill. That's it.
And I'm still wearing my mask, except for at the garden. It's funny because I'm so used to being totally alone there.
Yeah, so now you don't have to wear your mask if you're outdoors. So we can gather outdoors. If you're fully vaccinated and you're in a small group outdoors, you do not have to wear your mask, right? If you are for indoor gatherings, we can resume indoor gatherings with people who are fully vaccinated.
Oh, that's great.
All right? So that's a good thing, because now we can put back our full schedule for the Master Gardener Plant Clinic. More than one person can be in there without a mask. The mask mandate is still in place for people who have appointments. You will have to put back on your mask when someone comes in for an appointment. Okay?
Yeah, I'm still wearing my mask pretty much everywhere I go. It's important, I think,
Yes. And when you're out in the public, you still have to wear your mask. But the difference with that as well is you can be masked up and do a festival now, right? If festivals were being kept. You can also mask up and help in gardens, or in indoor situations. You're safer now than you were 2 months ago, right? So that's going to make a big change in the way that we're doing our programming, because we can open the office for all the shifts. We can resume in-person meetings and in-person programming, which we were not able to do before, because it was just too high risk. So if you are fully vaccinated, you can now show up in the conference room, and we don't have to have limits on how many people are together. if you're fully vaccinated, if it's a group of people who are fully vaccinated coming together. If you are not vaccinated, I'm not going to stop you from coming in and being able to attend meetings in person. You just have to wear a mask. You will still have to wear a mask. That is important. All right. And it's not about singling anybody out. It's not about making anyone conspicuous. By George, I still have to wear a mask. Right. So it's not anything about that. It's more along the lines of, we're not sure whether or not, if you're fully vaccinated, if you can still be asymptomatic and have COVID-19. Right. So that's a big deal. That makes a huge difference when you sit down and you contemplate how you are moving around in the world unvaccinated, along with people who are. All right. Let's see now. Okay, you can gather indoors with people who are fully vaccinated. You can gather indoors with unvaccinated people from one other household. Okay, so those of you who have not seen beloved friends and family members, you can meet with people in one household who are not high risk for trafficking this germ. Okay, so if you know that your favorite granddaughter is a nurse in an ER, that's not a place for you to go to and feel as if you would be safe there. Okay. But if they have a job like mine where they can reasonably navigate and not be around people who are likely to have this disease, then you can visit within that one household. This does not mean you go to the family reunion and do all of the grilling and hugging and kissing of little germsy children. That is not what this allows you to do. Okay, we're not there yet. We're getting there, hallelujah, but we are not there yet. All right. We need to encourage those around us who have not been vaccinated to do one of two things. Either go get shot or stay as safe as possible.
Yep.
Those are the options, right? And I say these things with the strongest of language because I am very, very serious. I have not decided to ask people for their evidence that they've been vaccinated. You all are all adults. You've been adulting long before me in many cases. I'm not going to do that. I refuse at this point to have to say you cannot come to in-person programming without showing me evidence. If UF makes that a mandate, then I will pass that down because that's how I'm operating. But for right now,
pull my other screen over her face.
If you know that you are not fully vaccinated,
Not going to
which
be.
means you have not taken the vaccine and you're not 2 weeks out of your second dose or your single dose of J&J, please don't show up for any of my programming without a mask on. Do not do it. I have not had any spreader events and I don't intend to. All right, so moving right along. We have things to do, folks. I'm very grateful that you all are all shot to pieces. It's a beautiful life. Please continue, right, to do the things you need to do in order to do the things you want to do. And I'm grateful that this is still one of the things you all want to do. I've got things. I need help at the IG Center. Our Fred was out there. It is a tougher job than we anticipated because of what the soil is out there, okay? So I need someone to join Fred in getting the signage sorted. So if you are strong and willing to utilize a post hole digger and help Fred get those signs up, I would appreciate your efforts and your generosity. All right, we're trying to get those signs up this week. So if you have an extra hour or two that you think you can go out there and help him dig the holes, line up the poles, level them off, that's what he told me needs to be done. Y'all, I don't know anything about putting up signage. I draw it into a little diagram and I say, this is the idea. You all are the geniuses who execute these things. And Fred has that kind of experience, right? He did a lot of hardscaping for gardening work. So he's an excellent teacher and he's great to work with. So if you have the wherewithal to assist him with digging a few holes and leveling it off and drilling those signs into the post or whatever it is that he says you need to do, please let me know when you are available and I will coordinate with you to get to him and get this project done. Or if you know how to do it yourself, I mean, bully for you, I will take your time. All right, so that is number one, the signage at the IG Center. I spoke with Kevin yesterday because when I was out there yesterday delivering the material for the signage, the pots that are out there along the circle driveway part, they are very sad. Just like a lot of the other landscaping at the IG Center, right? We're eating this elephant. So I spoke with Kevin and I said to Kevin, I have some lovely natives that have taken up very nice that have made nice dense populations in my landscape. I'm willing to donate the plants if you will just give us charge of those pots. They have some palm trees that will always fail to thrive in them and weeds. So there is something nice and green and thriving in those pots, just nothing no one wants. All right. So what I would like to do, and I explained to him, they need to donate the soil and have a crew out there to pick up the pots, put them in a location where we can empty them out and refill them with some plants. And I think that 2 people would be able to get this task done. He says that they will have some availability on their calendar to be able to accommodate that task next week. So if you have time next week and you feel like doing some potting, have I got a job for you? All right. I will have the plant material out there. I will have a little write-up on what it is that I'd like to place into each pot. And then they will pick up those heavy pots and put them back out there. Of course, these are potted plants. They do not have irrigation, folks. So these pots I would like to give to someone who will have time and be able to go down there and water them in. The first week we need to water them every day, right? The second and third and fourth and etc. You might just need to go out there twice for the week and actually get some water to them. I believe they have a spigot on the western side near where the office space is. I will investigate that further to determine how easy or how difficult this is going to be. I am all for adding some linear feet onto the existing hose line. We will get it done, but we need to have it looking a lot better. When I called Kevin, I was trying to be tactful and he was like, no, Nikki, they're abysmal. They really are. They're not indicative of anything that anybody would want to drive up and feel welcome to see. All right, so we're going to stick some red salvia, some gaillardia, and some porterweed into that, because those are all things that if we do happen to neglect them for a couple of days or for a week, they're not going to die on us. And they're very bright in color and they have interesting foliage, right? So those are the plants that I have lots of extras of in my yard. Yay. We started from here. And we can keep on putting out there. Gaillardia has a tendency to spread. Red salvia has a tendency to spread. Porterweed has a tendency to spread. In those pots, they're not going to be spreading anywhere too much and causing anyone any other issues. So I think those will be really great ways to show people, if you really want to have a few natives, here's how to get it done. All right, moving on. So those pots would be for next week. If you want to do that project, please let me know. I will happily make sure that the materials are out there for you to be able to accommodate that. We have a few events. I have overlapping events on the 17th of April. One of them is at the Garden Club. I would like to do that one myself. So the other one is the Steam Fest. It's an outdoor thing. We're going to set up our tent and we're going to be helping. So I think that Darren and I agreed on letting young people color their pollinator, and then we'll just use the sticks that we'd already glued seeds onto for them to use that, and they just stick it into the ground and water it in eventually. So if any of you want to do that, of course, this is an event where you'd have to wear a mask, even if you're fully vaccinated, because we're going to be around people who are not, okay? But the good thing is it is outdoors, and it is very, very, very low risk, okay? So if you'd like to help with that at the Steam Fest, please let me know. And of course, there are lots of other things that you can do. We always need someone who just checks off the statistics on the statistics sheet. So even if that's what you want to assist with, we can make that happen, okay? So then there's the thing at the Garden Club where they're having their little garage, their little yard sale type of thing. I would like to have at least one more person out there with me so that if I'm answering one question here, another person can be answering another question. Again, this is another mask event because we do not have herd immunity yet, all right? But it's still safe if you're vaccinated to be outdoors doing this sort of work. So if you feel like you want to help me at the Garden Club, please let me know. I would appreciate the assistance. All right, it's a few hours on Saturday morning, 17th April. All right, 24th April, we have another event at C.W. Willis. We're going to do the same thing at C.W. Willis that we just did at Steam Fest. Okay, we're going to have young people color their pollinator, learn a little bit more about what pollinators need in the landscape, and send them on their way with their little stick. Again, we need someone who can do statistics. You don't have to work with the children. We need someone who can assist with the work with the children if you feel up to it. You will still be wearing a mask because precautions are still necessary. All right, but it is much safer now to do this than it was last year when we shut down on the cusp of Steam Fest, all right? So if you all are interested in doing those events, please let me know. I would really appreciate the help because I'm in the middle of planning for Master Gardener training, and during those 2 weeks, I'll be 3 weeks into MG training. I would really prefer not to have to do these events as just two agents, me and Darren out there, or as just me and Darren having to do every single thing. All right. So Steam Fest is going to be at the IG Center outdoors. C.W. Willis just opened a location on Oslo Road. It is their new nursery and it looks amazing. They're even going to have a tea room there, and I can't wait because it's kind of like this other nursery that's in Cayman that had a tea room. They used to take all my extra money when I was a teenager. Every dollar. I'm a sucker for a pot of strawberry tea. And they had the best small cucumber sandwiches. All right, so I digress as usual. All right, so we are going to be back in business for those of you who are fully vaccinated. Those of you who are not vaccinated for whatever reasons happen to be, continue to live your best life as safely as you possibly can. Please don't volunteer for any of my events where you're going to be around a bunch of people. You're still supposed to be limiting yourself, okay? Do your best to stay as safe as you possibly can. Until we can get to a point where it's safe for you to navigate and most people are some way, shape, or form a lot safer for you to be around. Okay. By now, you all should have received invitations to at least go into Better Impact and get your password and change your username if you want to. I am still in the middle of slawing through the demonstration things that I missed. They sent out an email for this training. I already had a life planned. Okay, so I'm watching the videos and I'm slowly but surely navigating the website. I would like to do a Better Impact training on 6th April. We're going to stop using, we should have stopped using the current volunteer management system already, but it's okay. They're still navigating our things on over. So Better Impact is what we're going to be using. It's just it's a name for a volunteer management system, okay? Some of the things seem a little two-step-ish. Some of them seem to be, like I said before, definitely more on the side of how will an agent be able to collect data a lot better, all right? And that's a bonus for me. It just adds another step of tedium for you, but I'm hoping that it won't be that bad if we just get on board and use it a little bit more. Because like the VMS, most of you have never used that before either, and we have managed to be able to at least navigate it a little bit more, with a little bit more ease. My major concern is definitely getting Jim and Karen to be a little bit more adept at using it the same way they are with the current VMS. That way I have more backup, right? To navigate and to help you all with getting people signed up for events or putting people into the right project or any of the other administrative things. So we are working on that, and I'm very grateful for them doing the advanced trainings with me. So I'd like to do Better Impact training on 6th April. So our meeting on 6th April will be dedicated to the new volunteer management system. If you have not received an email to invite you to that system, I need to know. That means that we need to update your email address and fix it on to Better Impact. I have figured out how to do that. Okay. They sent you an email and they gave you a number and not a username. You can change your number to a real username. Okay. I don't like the number thing. I'm quite certain that most of you are not keen on it. So that's going to be the first thing that we are all going to do on our first training day. Okay. So I will be doing this training in the conference room. If you are fully vaccinated, you can show up in the conference room with whatever your tablet or your phone, whatever you're going to use for Better Impact. You can show up in the conference room and we can walk through it. So if you have a laptop, a tablet, your phone that you're using Better Impact on, you can come to the conference room and we can go through it. If you are not fully vaccinated, please show up with your mask on. All right, and we can still do it in the conference room. And it's B501 as usual. Master Gardener training is starting on 8th April. I'm placing my order for books, and we currently have, I think it's 8 people signed up. I'm not discouraged by small numbers. I am always encouraged by small numbers because that means that I have enough time to be able to focus on one particular student at a time and make sure they get what they need to have. If you were in my last class, or if you are simply a Master Gardener right now, I will be sending out the agenda. If you want to attend a class and you are fully vaccinated in person, you can show up. If you want to join by Zoom, You just send me an email and let me know, and I will have your handouts available at the office, and you can pick them up the day before. If you're attending in person, I still need to know so that I'll have enough handouts for you to be able to attend that class. Field trips, for those of you who are from last class, if you are fully vaccinated and you want to come on the field trips that I have scheduled, please let me know in advance. You all are definitely invited to come on the field trips. If you are a veteran Master Gardener and you want to come on a field trip and you are fully vaccinated, please let me know and I will make sure to have space and availability on the field trips for you to be able to attend. Speaking of field trips, Gifford Youth Achievement Center Garden is one of the regular stops on our field trips, and it is back in on the schedule. We have been doing amazing work. Lena gets out there at about 7:30 every morning. And we have been babying several plants out there. We've laid cardboard, we've spread mulch. I'm waiting for Parks to get back to me about getting an area of it paved. I'm going to pave the space between the work shed and the pergola, and both spaces where the gates are going to be, we're going to lay them in pavers. We have 3 keyhole beds, 3 very large keyhole beds at the moment. I will be putting in extra beds as requested. So if you want a space to grow your vegetables, your sunflowers, your whatever that you may or may not be allowed to do if you live in an HOA or you just don't have the space, I am willing, fully able, even have a plan for it, to give you space at the Gifford Garden. Let me know, okay? And I will make sure that you are accommodated. I have a few requests. So if any of you have any extra gardening things or patio things that you just don't want to use anymore or don't have any use for, I will happily take them. So we need a few tables, some chairs if possible, things that can definitely endure the weather. And if you see something super duper cheap, please remember that I'm a miser. And it doesn't matter if I'm not spending my own money. I really don't like spending money on things that I can get as close to free as possible. Okay, that's important. So if you see an advert for maybe a really good wrought iron table, I've got pavers I can put that on. All right, so that's the game plan. We really want to make sure that we have tables, chairs, all sorts of things that are out there to make it a more welcoming space. That's one of the biggest things that we're trying to make sure. We are reverting it to its original mission, which is a community and student garden. We have been doing a significant amount of community outreach. I have recruited 2 people who are within walking distance of the garden. They will both be in our new class, which is going to be great, right? We really did need more very local inputs, especially since it's not a hardship for Lena to drive across the bridge and go water the plants. But what if she's not there for that week, right? We have people who can say, well, I'm just going to run on across the street and go water the plants. That's more sustainable, right? That's more efficient even. And so that's what we're doing. So we do have a couple of people who will be in our next class. Yay. I do have some plant requests as well. Let me see if I've gone through everything else on this sheet of paper that I needed to go through. Yes, okay, great. Okay, I am making sure that we use this garden to the maximum. And maximizing this garden right now is expanding it 6 feet out from the fence line. Again, if you all have some time and have the energy and the strength, I need help putting my new beds in out inside the fence. So this requires putting the blocks on edge. So digging down a little bit into the soil and sliding the block into that space. It's not hard to do. It's not rocket science to do. It's just, it takes a little bit more strength than even I am able to put forth, right? So I'm jumping on the shovel, and bless his heart, Vincent is out there doing his best, but he is one person and it's slow going. So if you have time and if you have the strength and the energy, I would greatly appreciate, you can be a block placer or you could be a hole digger. More hands makes this work light at the end of the day. Oh, I have blueberry bushes. They've got blueberries out there. Yes. Okay. Segue. Okay. Back to the fence line. So I'm creating beds that are 6 feet wide at the fence line. Okay. That's going to do two things like I had described to you all before. That's going to help me manage the weed populations that would be caught up into the chain link fence that the weed whacker and the lawnmower can't get to. I'm eliminating that as an issue. And it's also going to give us more space to give demonstrations of things that people can possibly do in their own landscape. So having said that, I've divided up the fence area, and I've decided to put in different plantings, different groupings of plants with themes. Okay. And so one of my themes is baby shower. So I'll be putting plumbago, the Hawaiian tie, and pink pentas and purple pentas into the baby shower portion of the fence line. This is an idea for people who might not know what kind of hedging they want or don't have anything up near their house and they don't know what would grow in their area. This is a great idea, right? So it's all pink, blue, and purple. Because, you know, there are the pink people, the blue people, and the people who are undecided. We've got everyone covered. All right. That one is called baby shower. I have another one that I named fireworks, where I'm going to be putting crotons, firecracker, and red salvia into it. Because all of that is, yes, I'm here all day, folks. I have another one that's called royal butterfly because, you know, calling it monarch butterfly is a little wrong, right? So this one here is going to have it's going to have a Simpson stopper, gaillardia, and porterweed because they're, you know, those are the colors of the purple flowers on the porterweed, the red and gold in the gaillardia. Like I said, I'm here all day, folks. Okay. And I have another section that I'm just naming Into the Sun, where we just keep all sorts of sunflowers. Like you name it, we're going to stick a sunflower in there and it's just going to be nothing but sunflowers. We'll just keep on rotating sunflower variety after sunflower variety in that spot. And then I have another space that I'm calling On Air, and it's just going to be a cloud of plumbagos and white pentas. Yes, that's my game plan for all the way around the fence line. All right, so it's just going to be one big cloud of blue and white. That's what I'm doing around the fence line. And those are the permanent plants, right? Now, what we grow in the understory or in and around those plants is going to be different. I currently have 3 watermelon vines that are going to be running. We also have, oh my goodness, I can't remember what else, but I'm going to be intercropping different food crops, different food things in along with that, because I want to give people the idea that even if they do have a small space, they can do other things in there with that, right? So planting some cabbage in with in a different section when it cools down again. All of those little crazy things that I like to talk about that I'm actually doing in my own yard, we're going to do out there so that people can see different things that they can do. And we can use this garden. So when we start giving lectures again, and when we start telling people, hey, this is a great idea for your home landscape, we can say to them, if you go out to our demonstration garden, you'll see it in action. Okay, so that's my game plan for Gifford. So if you have time, if you have plants that you want to donate, I'm taking plants. Just ask me. I can send out my plant list. And if you want to donate plants, I'm willing to take them. I really, really am. I'm trying to get the crotons and the Hawaiian tea plant from Peters, because they're always really, really great to partner with on different things. And he always gives the best advice on which types of crotons should go where and which Hawaiian ties are best in full sun. And that's really what we've got out there is a lot of full sun. So I'd really like to purchase them from him. So if you're feeling generous, have I got some place for you to put your money? Okay, and Michael, you just said you have volunteers of coffee, cassia, ironweed, native porterweed. Okay, so I'd love at least the cassia and the native porterweed for right now. Okay, when ironweed and the coffee is going to come after I insert myself a little more into that space, because I would like to decorate the places where those pine trees are. They're so boring, and life can be so much better than.
Did you put the blueberries near the pine trees since
I did. I put the blueberries under the pine trees. And then I'm going to collect some of the pine cones, but I have a really, really awesome mound of compost that I'm going to make some mud pies in this weekend. I'll make some more mud pies in the wheelbarrow, and I'm going to side dress them. And then I will be putting some more pine cones on top. Yes, because I don't know how long they've been in those containers. And then after they're done blooming and bearing for this year, we're gonna give them a little bit of a pruning. They need a little bit of TLC. That's for sure.
So
Okay.
we might have ended up with some of those blueberry plants. So I'll need to learn how to prune them too.
Yes. Oh, that's right. You got yours delivered the same day. Awesome. Yes. So we've got those that we're working with.
Those were not blueberry plants. Those were like blueberry plants.
Yes. Yes. So I'm planning on rejuvenating them over the next 2 years. I'm not going to give them a very hard pruning because this is not an ornamental that you don't care whether or not it comes back, right? So I'm going to be rejuvenating them over the next few years. I will be moving them out of such a high volume of shade, and I'll put them where they'll get morning sun or something. But right now, let me get my circle sorted out, you know. So, all right. So anyway, I really do need more labor over at GAIAC because I am trying to have this garden student ready before spring break is up. Because when their spring break is up this week, I only have one more week to finish before I start Master Gardener training. Timing of when I need help, whenever someone has time, Michael, whenever someone has time. The work is always out there.
So, but who tells somebody what work needs to be done?
Oh, you can just send me a text and let me know when you're available, and I'll make myself ready.
Okay.
Yeah, I go out there in the mornings and I go out there in the afternoons after work. Yeah, so I'm spreading mulch. I'm laying cardboard on the outside. I'm just patching things now. So we've expanded it out. That 6 feet out just gave us another about 1,100 square feet or 16. I can't remember what the numbers are right now, but over 1,000 more square feet of gardening space to manage. And I think that it is going to make a huge difference in the ways that parks will be able to manage the weeds along the border of that, and the ways that we would be able to manage our plant materials. Okay, so that is that. If you all are purchasing and indulging in pineapples for right now, I would love to have your heads. Because I will be reestablishing the pineapple patch. That's a historical thing that was part of the original layout and design for the garden, and I would like to do that over. And I think that is it for right now for the Gifford Garden. So yes, if you are up to it and can come and give us a couple of your hours, it would be greatly appreciated. Just send me a message. Let me know if you need me to be out there with you to show you what needs to be done or whatever. I'm just happy whenever the garden fairies show up and the work is being, and we're making progress. Okay, so do any of you have any questions for me or have anything that I need to do for you in order for you to be able to volunteer? I love crickets. I really do. All right, so you all have yourselves a lovely rest of the day and a wonderful rest of the week. I'm going to edit this video while I go make myself something to eat. Please continue to stay as safe as you possibly can. Don't go too wild and crazy, kids, because you all are fully vaccinated. That's not the game plan, okay? And as usual, check on somebody who you haven't seen in a wee bit, right? I have been getting random text messages. Oh, guess who I caught up with? It makes a big difference still, folks. It really does, because a lot of us are petrified turtles who are still not sure whether we want to come out, okay? So there are lots of us who are still staying at home and are solitary. We're not socially distancing with anyone. So run down the list of people on the VMS, randomly select someone and check in with them. That's what I always tell you all to do, and that's what I hope that you all are doing. Have yourselves a wonderful afternoon. I'm available via email, text message. I don't do smoke signals yet, but I might learn. Have a great day.